Welcome back to Koga Games. Today is something a little bit new. I'm not doing competitive Pokemon at all, or I'm not doing my Dynasty. This is actually the start of my Nuzlocke series, so I'm doing a Reverse-Genlocke. So if you don't know what a Genlocke is, it's where you carry over the Pokemon from the previous games into the next game. So if you played Red, you'd go to Gold, Gold to Ruby, and all that. So this is a Reverse-Genlocke. So the idea is that any Pokemon that enters the Hall of Fame in a game, whether it faints during the Elite Four or not, it is banned from all future games. So the idea is to whittle down the available Pokemon. So by the end, I have to pick either less ideal Pokemon, or I have to force myself to use less ideal Pokemon early to keep the good Pokemon for the later games. I'm sure people have done it before, but it's something I just thought of. So I wanted to go ahead and do it. So to go over the rules, I'm going to be playing with hardcore Nuzlocke rules. So the normal Nuzlocke rules are if a Pokemon faints, it is dead and it must be released or permanently boxed. I prefer to box them so I can keep a dead box as a memorial. And then for the hardcore rules, you cannot overlevel each gym leader or Elite Four's ace Pokemon. For the Elite Four, I go with the third member's level cap. Just make it a bit more of a challenge. No items in battle except for held items. There's no held items in Gen 1, so this won't matter. And then I play with the duplicates or dupes clause, so I can re-roll any encounter until I find a new Pokemon. But if I accidentally knock out an encounter, then I cannot catch another encounter in that area, and the Pokemon I knocked out will not be available for the rest of the run. So if I run into, say, an Oddish and I knock it out, then for the rest of the run, Oddish is not an available Pokemon for me. So that's just kind of the rules I play with. Nuzlocke rules are kind of flexible. So that's what I do. Hopefully it'll be interesting, and we'll go ahead and get into the run. Because this is the first leg of the series, I name myself Leg 1, and because I'm unoriginal, I name my rival Bad Guy. And then I start the game with an old man yelling at me to get off his lawn and then giving me a Pokemon. Dimension can be rough, but I take advantage of it and choose Squirtle, which I nickname Squirt, and my rival, true to his name, chooses Bulbasaur. We have our first battle, and after an eternity of tackles, we beat up his Pokemon and start our journey. In the interest of time, I will not be going over every catch in the game, only the Pokemon that get use in major battles. We deliver Oak's meds, and I get some Pokeballs and catch a Pidgey on Route 1, which I name Birdomatic. After training up Birdomatic a little bit, I head west to Route 22, where I catch a Nidoran male, which I name King. Nidoking is famously one of the best Pokemon for Gen 1, so this is a great encounter. I head north to Route 2 looking for another encounter, but my brain shuts down and I knock out Rattata thinking I already have one. So Rattata is not available for the rest of the run. After I realize my stupidity, I head into Viridian Forest where I catch Kakuna, who is easily the worst encounter in the game, and I name him Swarm. I train a bit more on Route 22 and I go to battle Rival 1.5, which is the optional rival just north of Route 22. After throwing some sand in his Pidgey's eyes, I bring in Squirt and beat it down. One Tail Whip and two Kingly Horn Attacks take down his Bulbasaur, and we get the win here. After beating up every trainer available and doing some switch training, my pathetic Swarm evolves into a slightly less pathetic Beedrill. I get most of my team to the level cap and go to challenge Brock. To everyone's surprise, Squirtle easily beats his two Pokemon. To my actual surprise, neither Pokemon gets one-shot by Squirtle. That gives us our first badge of the game, but Squirt's damage output is lacking, to say the least. After clearing the Trainer Gauntlet to the east, I catch Jigglypuff in Route 3, which is named Gigolo, which I make a vow to carry through the rest of the game because I like Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff. After that, I take my team into Mount Moon and get myself a Geodude, which I name a Rock, which is an objectively dumb name, but it makes me smile. Geodude joins the team and gives us our first full team of the game. While battling some Rocket Grunts, Squirt hits level 16 and evolves into Wartortle, followed quickly by King evolving into Nidorino. This happiness is unfortunately short-lived as King dies almost immediately to a critical hit Hyper Fang from a Rocket Grunt's Raticate. Rest in peace, King. I make this my hero origin story and vow to wipe out the rest of Team Rocket for killing my Pokemon, picking up my Dome Fossil on the way out of Mount Moon. On my way to Cerulean City, Bertomatic evolves into Pidgeotto, and I catch an Ekans on Route 3, which is named Charbaka. When I get to Cerulean City, I go slightly north and am bamboozled by Bad Guy before the bridge. A rock handles most of his team, easily switching out at the end for Bertomatic to clean up his Bulbasaur with a couple quick attacks. His team is not very challenging early in the game, so we're going to value these wins while we got them. On Route 25, I catch an Oddish that I dub Sweetie. After getting Oddish, Swarm is immediately kicked off the team and replaced with it. On Route 24, I run into an Abra, but it pieces out before I can catch it, which is very sad. After battling a bunch of trainers, I meet Bill and help him get out of his Pokemon. He gives me some tickets, and I don't ask any questions. Heading south to train before Misty, some rude girl taunts me, asking to trade Nidorans. Unfortunately, I cannot beat her up for this. After reaching Vermilion, I head east and get a Spearow in Route 11 that I name Beakster. Immediately, I trade Beakster for a cool Farfetch named Dux. Dux will not actually be used in the game, but it will be my Cup Pokemon, so it's worth mentioning. In my runs, I allow NPC trades, but the traded Pokemon must be a legitimate encounter, and the received Pokemon is used as the encounter for the area. So essentially, Dux is my encounter for both Route 11 and Vermilion City. This will not be the last trade of the run. Anyway, while battling some trainers, Sweetie evolves into Gloom, and I take my brand new Gloom into Misty's gym to embarrass her. Sleep Powder puts the Staryu to sleep, and Absorb easily takes it out. Starmie takes a little bit longer to take down with Absorbs, but with Sleep Powder it's really no threat, and it has no psychic moves, so we get our second gym badge with no real issues. Unfortunately, I missed recording it, but on the SSN, Charbaka evolves into Arbok, so Arbok will be on the team. After clearing out the rest of the boat, I take on Rival 3. Once again, a rock takes out most of his team. Pidgeotto annoys us with some sand attacks, and Eradicate hits fairly hard, but both go down without issue. Kadabra is a pushover, and Bertomatic takes out his Bulbasaur after wasting everyone's time with our own sand attacks. So we are 3-0 versus our rival. In the SSN, I meet the captain and get an HM from him after helping with his seasickness. Kind of odd. I wave goodbye to the ship as they depart for their inevitable doom. I drop off Bertomatic in the PC to grab Dux. Dux has a single good quality, it can learn Cut and let me into Surge's gym. I take on Surge and have a thriller battle. Surge leads Voltorb and I lead a rock. A rock is able to knock out his Voltorb, his Pikachu, and his Raichu with 3 digs, earning us our 3rd badge. Luckily, those 3 attacks I use are enough to level up a rock to evolve into Graveler. Unfortunately, I can't trade, so I'm going to stop doing the name. A rock has reached his final form. After the battle, I head through Rock Tunnel, where nothing of consequence happens, and it's a black screen, so we'll just skip it. After I reach Lavender and Celadon, I head east and get the Fly HM. Along the way, I catch a Doduo on Route 16, which I name Ghidorah, a name that will only make sense when it evolves. I put Doduo in the PC, and I teach Bertomatic Fly and go to take on Erica. Bertomatic fails to kill Victory Bell with 1 Fly and gets Poison Powdered, but Poison is actually a pretty good outcome since it prevents paralysis, so Bertomatic can sweep through the rest of the gym. Only Tangela gets 1 shot, but we pick up our 4th badge with no issues. With our new badge in hand, I go to the Celadon game corner, and would you believe it, there's a Team Rocket base in the basement. Mind blown. After clearing through the Nidorino haters, I come face to face with our leader Giovanni. The intimidating boss of Team Rocket shows his power by getting swept by Sweetie. Truly a force to be reckoned with. He gives me the Silph Scope, and I head over to Pokemon Tower to see some ghosts. Inside, I find my rival just chilling by the entrance. Gigolo takes down Pidgeotto pretty easily. Sweetie nearly meets his end by Dragon Rage, but Squirt takes over to take down Gyarados and Growlithe with no issue. After getting disabled, Bertomatic cleans up Kadabra and takes down Ivysaur with a couple wing attacks. I get to the top of the tower and re-kill a Marowak, you know, just for fun. I clear out a couple more Team Rocket members, and Gigolo barely survives a crit from a Drowsy. Lucky he hangs on. Finally, I rescue an old man who claims he didn't need to be rescued, but he gives me a weird flute, so we call it even. After getting rid of Snorlax, which I somehow didn't record, I get to Fuchsia City and head into the Safari Zone to grab some gold teeth and the Surf 8 gem. Along the way, I pick up a Rhyhorn who I named Rind because I couldn't think of anything else, which is a theme for this run. I trade the gold teeth for the Strength 8 gem, a solid trade, and get the Good Rod. I immediately go into the Fisher's backyard and catch a Poliwag and name it Trade. I told you it wouldn't be the last time. While training Trade, Burtomatic evolves into Pidgeot, so that's nice. After running out of trainers, I beat the second Snorlax by the bike route and start beating up bikers. Finally, Trade evolves into Poliwhirl, and if you haven't judged by the name yet, he will not be sticking around. I fly to Cerulean City and find some weirdo living with his wife and a Jinx, and I trade my Poliwhirl for a Jinx named Lola. Once again, I don't ask any questions, and Lola is basically my encounter for Fuchsia and Cerulean City. After dropping Sweetie for Lola, I take the team into Silphco to train up my team, and if there's time, save the company. After getting Gigolo to level 34 and teaching him Body Slam, I get my Moonstone and finally evolve him to Wigglytuff. After clearing out all the trainers in Silphco, I head to Koga's gym and Squirt evolves into Blastoise. Immediately after that, Burtomatic dies to a critical hit from a gym trainer's Hypno. Unfortunately, second loss, GD Hypno. I drop Burtomatic off in the dead box and Ghidorah joins the party. After some training, Ghidorah evolves into Dodrio, who I was hoping to save for later more difficult games, but c'est la vie. After training up the team to level 40, I teach Thunderbolt to Gigolo and Psychic to Lola with TMs, and challenge Rival Fivel. Lola takes down Pidgeot with one Ice Punch and puts Gyarados to sleep for Gigolo to KO with 2 Thunderbolts. Gigolo also takes down Growlithe with 2 Bubble Beams, but struggles against Alakazam. Lola switches in and easily KOs Alakazam with Lovely Kiss and Body Slam. Finally, Lola finishes up the fight with 2 Psychics on Venusaur. After that, let's say, challenge, I run into Giovanni again. A quick KO by Squirt and some strong Earthquakes from a rock. Giovanni is taken care of with no problems, and I dig out of a skyscraper, which should be perfectly safe. The next 2 gyms, Koga and Sabrina, have the same level cap of 43. I choose to take on Koga first so I can be at the level cap for Sabrina, who is usually more difficult. To Koga's surprise, his 4 Psychic-type Pokemon do not stand up to my team. 4 Psychics easily take care of everything, and we set our sights on Sabrina. Unfortunately, Lola went over the level cap in that battle, so Rind temporarily joins the team. More temporary than I planned because he immediately dies during switch training. Oops, 3 deaths. Luffy the Mankey, who I think I forgot to mention that I caught, replaces the recently departed. I get to Sabrina, which is a gym battle that I am usually pretty nervous about. Her Alakazam can be very scary, but not today. Ghidorah easily sweeps her entire team with Drill Packs. If you've never done a red or blue Nuzlocke, Dodrio is a very good Pokemon that's very easy to encounter. 6 badges down, 3 unfortunate deaths. I let Luffy grab some bench and Lola rejoins the team. I surf down to Cinnabar, and after going through a mansion to get the gym key, I'm ready to battle Blaine. Why this old man locked himself and like 6 trainers in the gym is beyond me. But it doesn't matter to me. I go to the gym under level and Squirt runs over his entire team with Surf. He one-shots every single Pokemon, and we easily get the win. 7 badges down, 1 to go until we can battle the Elite Four. Just for fun, after I get out of Cinnabar, I decide to head over to the power plant by Rocket Tunnel, because I want to beat up Zapdos since I can't use him. Zapdos is a pretty easy win for a rock. Zapdos can't touch him, and 2 rock throws finish the job. Get some pretty good experience as we train up for the Mystery Gym Leader's level cap. I take out the gym trainers in Viridian and get my team up to level 50 in the Pokemon Mansion. Then I get ready to battle the super mysterious gym leader, and surprise, it's Giovanni. Who could have seen this coming? I thought he led with Dugtrio, but it turns out it's Rhyhorn, so I switched Ghidorah out to Squirt to let him take it out. After Rhyhorn, Giovanni sends out Dodrio, and I switch back to Ghidorah to take it out. Dodrio only has ground type moves, so it can't hurt Ghidorah. After that, Squirt comes back in to sweep his remaining Nidos and Rhydon. And just like that, we have our final gym badge and we are eligible to take on the Elite Four. But first, we have to take on the second to last rival fight. Ghidorah takes down Pidgeot with 2 tri-attacks. The rival sends in Rhyhorn, who is easy pickings for Squirt. Squirt stays in on Gyarados, which is annoying with Dragon Rage, but never really threatens Squirt. Squirt again stays in, and handles Growlithe with a Surf. Alakazam comes in, and finally forces me to switch to Lola, who eventually puts Sam to sleep, and slowly takes it out with Body Slam and Psychic. But Alakazam wakes up and starts to recover, but we get it back to sleep and eventually take it down. After that, Lola finishes the battle by taking out Venusaur with a couple Ice Punches. And all that stands in our way now is Victory Road and some grinding. I get the team up to level 60, so let's take a look at them before I take on the Elite Four. I'm confident in the team, especially Lola and Squirt, whose typing and coverage match up very well against Kanto's Elite Four. Here we go. First up is Lorelei. Lorelei starts the battle with Dugong, and I lead with Gigolo. Dugong hits pretty hard with the Roar Beam before tanking a Thunderbolt and resting. Before he can wake out, Gigolo knocks it out with a couple more Thunderbolts. Next up is Cloyster, who does minimal damage but confuses Gigolo before going down to 2 more Thunderbolts. Third is Slowbro, so I switch to Charbaka for a classic Gen 1 strat. Slowbro spams Amnesia and gets very scary, but Charbaka hits Toxic on the second try after missing the first, and we hit our Wrap, piling up Toxic and Wrap damage, knocking out Slowbro before it can ever move again. Lorelei then starts to get scary by sending out her Jinx. Charbaka wants nothing to do with it, and so Squirt fills in. Jinx only manages a couple pathetic double slaps before Squirt KOs with 2 Body Slams. Finally, Lorelei's ace, Lapras. We trade Body Slam Paralysis, but Lapras confuses Squirt on the second turn, so we switch to Gigolo, who is immune to Body Slam Paralysis thanks to a Gen 1 glitch. Feeling safe, we can easily knock out Lapras with a couple more Thunderbolts, finishing the battle. Second, we have the fighting type Master, Bruno. Bruno leads with his famous fighting Onix that Lola easily KOs with Ice Beam. Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee technically enter the battle, but we hardly notice after 1 Psychic each ends their appearance. Bruno's second Onix comes in and leaves thanks to an Ice Beam, leaving only Bruno's ace Machamp. Playing it safe, I switch out Lola to Squirt, who nearly OHKOs Machamp with Hydro Pump, but it survives on a Sliver, only to KO itself with submission damage. Lola probably could have one-shot Machamp, but we move on regardless. Third is Agatha and her ghost types. She leads with Gengar, and we lead a Rock? A Confuse Ray and Hypnosis prevent a Rock from moving, and Gengar starts to spam Dream Eater. We switch in Lola to ignore Dream Eater, after which Lola outspeeds and hits a Psychic, but gets confused after. A Rock comes in to get rid of Lola's confusion, but Gengar continues to spam Confuse Ray. On the second set of switches, Gengar gets a Super Potion and KOs a Rock with a critical hit Dream Eater. So we lose our first member of the Elite Four, and I can finally stop doing the a Rock thing. After that loss, Lola comes in to revenge kill the Gengar. Next, Agatha sends in her still alive Golbat, but we do her a favor and turn it into a ghost with an Ice Beam. Then Haunter comes in only to leave after a Psychic. We then provide another service to Agatha and kill her Arbok with a Psychic. Finally, we get to the second Gengar, but we can easily KO it after putting it to sleep and hitting 2 Psychics. Almost done with the Elite Four. Finally, we come face to face with the Dragon Trainer Lance. Lance leads Gyarados, and we send in Gigolo. Gigolo tanks a Hydro Pump before KOing the Pseudo Dragon with 2 Thunderbolts. Next comes in Dragonair 1, which hits a weak Hyper Beam before we sing it to sleep. During the sleep turn, we bring in Lola, which just about wraps up the battle. Lola is able to outspeed and one-shot both her Dragonairs, the Aerodactyl, and Lance's Dragonite, securing the win and letting us move on to the champion. Finally, we get to the last battle against the rival's strongest team. He leads Pidgeot as always, and we lead Lola. Lola easily one-shots with Ice Beam, and the rival sends in Alakazam. Lovely Kiss puts the Ice Cream Fiend to sleep, and we knock it out with 3 Body Slams. Next up is Rhydon, so we bring in Squirt, who easily tanks a Fury attack. Then takes Rhydon out with a Surf. Gyarados comes out next. Squirt takes a little damage from Dragon Rage, but eventually knocks it out with some Body Slams. Arcanine comes in but poses no threat as Squirt easily KOs after missing the first Hydro Pump. Finally, Venusaur comes in. Squirt manages to hit its first Blizzard and tanks a Mega Drain. After missing the second Blizzard, Venusaur charges Solar Beam and we switch to Ghidorah. Ghidorah then easily tanks Solar Beam and is able to bring the run to a close with an Outspeed and a Drill Peck. And with that, we have beaten a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Red. Pokemon Red is not a very hard game to Nuzlocke, with easily exploitable glitches and Jinx just being amazing. What's important is that for every game moving forward, we will not be able to use any of the Pokemon families that have entered the Hall of Fame, including the Graveler line, even though it was knocked out during the Elite Four run. So we will continue this Reverse Genlocke in Pokemon Gold when I see you next time. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you again in Johto.